Welcome back, everybody. Bob Main from the Handgun World podcast, being joined by Spencer Keepers of Keepers Concealment. And we just spent the first segment talking about his new holster out. And you were talking about making small adjustments in your holster can be a big deal. How so?
Yes. So if you look at the holster design, everything is hinged off the belt line, right?
Yeah.
Well, for some people, like for me, on appendix, I need a little bit of forward cant on the gun.
Okay.
Okay. So instead of it being just perfectly straight up and down, I want a little forward cant. Being able to adjust that to my body can make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
So think about, one of the things with appendix, longer is better than shorter for the vast majority of time, because it distributes the pressure over the same amount of pressure over a larger surface area.
And I want to emphasize something real quick. You were the first person that I've really heard say that, and I have to say I didn't believe that at first until I took your keeper's holster, which you made this, your people did made this for a G19, and it's a little bit longer. When I put the G19 in there, it's got a little extra length to it. And I didn't realize that, but you're right.
Yeah. So, and the thing I would tell you that would blow your mind, try a 17 or 34 length holster
For the 19, yeah.
for the 19.
Yeah.
And, that, of course, that's the cool thing about Glock. The 17 length is really, because of the narrowness of this,
Yeah.
it's really about, for an average person, works great. The 19 length does as well. But getting back to the ride height and cant, where I was going with that is if the gun was aligned where I wanted it, but it was touching my body, if I just adjust the cant just a little bit, makes a huge difference.
Right.
It goes from touching to not being there at all. And comfort is everything, So, because if it's not comfortable, you're not going to wear it.
You're not going to
on,
do it.
etc. So, comfort in my mind is first, and then concealment and all that stuff adds into that. The ride height is very critical to the draw process as well. The cant is, but it's not as much. We want the gun ideally to ride just high enough that you can get a full grip on the gun without your fingers interfacing with the belt or pant line.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You'll see a lot of holsters where the pant line or belt line is all the way up to here or maybe even deeper. And they do that because, and of course it's a cheaply made holster, they do that for concealment.
Yeah.
The problem that creates is now you can't get to the gun.
And if you do jam your hand in there, it hurts. I've done that.
Right.
With a stiff belt and the gun riding that close to the belt, man, that hurts. Ooh.
Yes. Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. And plus I can't get a good grip on it. So by the time I draw it, I don't have a good firing grip.
Right. So, all those little subtleties add up into a much bigger picture. And then you start, which I'm sure we'll get into, then you start putting speed into the equation.
Mm-hmm.
You start going, okay, I want a sub 1 second draw. Okay. Everything becomes incrementally more important, just small adjustments in riding
Excuse me.
can make a big difference. So,
okay. Now, anything else you want to say about that new Cornerstone?
No, I think that's about it. It comes with our Velcro
Foam wedge. Those are great.
That. Yep.
Yep.
The idea for the audience that might not know is that actually pushes the gun into the body, hinged at the belt line.
Yep.
So it pushes the gun
Yep.
away from the body and then into the body. So it adds in concealment. Um, there's some people that, like the idea that the gun's pushed away from them while it's, in the holster. Adds maybe a tiny bit of safety. I don't really, I'm not too concerned about that, but I also base that on I won't carry a gun that I have any inkling that will go off in the holster.
Yeah. One of the things that I've found is I like to wear the wedge like this.
Yeah.
I like to wear it with it. Yeah.
And that's why, we have the Velcro system so you can customize it to yourself.
Yeah, it just seems to, you talk about, let's put this gun back in here. Mine's clear too. You talk about the grip of the gun going closer to the body. Well, this wedge really helps it when you wear it sideways. That for me, I found, and everybody's body is different, but it really works well. I guess here's a good way to look at it like that.
Yeah. For me, I like mine straight up and down. But that's the beauty of the system is you get to do that. So
okay. Before we get into the next segment, and I want to do that soon. Just a little while ago, you held up another gun. What was that thing? I want to see that. What is that?
Sig X5.
Ah, the X5. Yes. Is that the X5 Legion?
No, this is the first version of the X5 that came out. So now that they've got that heavier frame, I'm thinking I'm going to lay some cash down and get one of those frames and put it on this and maybe shoot this for a little while. So
well, there are Sig's X Series. I got to really compliment Sig. That whole X Series line. I've been thinking about picking up one of those X carries. And those seem to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I've seen nothing but good stuff about the Sig X Series.
Yes. Yeah.
First.
They really have done a good job. The start of the 320 had some issues, but I've got I don't know that I can think of 5 or 6 guys that I know that's what their department issues.
320?
The 320. And, Oklahoma City Police, Oklahoma Highway Patrol, they both issue it, et cetera. From some folks I know out of state, that's their issue gun. And every one of them that I talk to are like, man, these things just run.
Law enforcement not issuing a Glock? Heresy.
Right? Exactly.
Come on now.
So I'm kind of like, okay, well, maybe I really need to, give this thing a go and see what level I can attain with it. So.
Yeah, and I think I want to try to see what level I can attain with the X carry. It's still the polymer frame. It's not the heavier frame that you're talking about. But a friend of mine here in San Antonio just got the X5 Legion with an optic on it.
Oh, nice.
He totally loves that thing.
Yeah.
Good.
The difference for me and what we were just talking about to sum this up, for my body, I need a longer holster. So, like if I was to get the X carry, I would still carry it in a full size 5-inch holster. So that's kind of one of the cool things with, Glock and now Sig is those holsters. The guns are interchangeable with the holster.
And you'd probably do the same with the X Compact because the Compact's even a little bit shorter, but you'd probably still put it in the full length holster, right?
Right. Correct. Yeah. And of course, people would think I'm crazy because how can bigger be more comfortable? But it just works that way.
It does.
Extra length matters. So.
And most of the time, people are putting small guns in appendix carry. And what happens is, you were saying, everything's hinged on the belt. The problem with the small gun is there's not enough weight down here with the small gun. So they start doing this. The small guns start doing that, and they print like crazy.
So that's why if you order, well, and of course, if you order like our errand for
I have one.
43, or here's a Sig 365 Cornerstone. Well, that's a lot longer than the Sig is. It'll accommodate the 4-inch
Yeah.
or XL, whatever they call it.
Sig X 365 XL.
Yeah, so all of our holsters are actually made longer than the gun itself is.
Yeah, that's great.
It's very interesting and comical to me, because I'll get a guy that's like, call or text or email us something, or like, hey, you messed this holster up. It's way longer than the gun, and I'm like, okay, let's talk about that. And so far, I'm 100% on. If you will try it, just try it.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, we'll work a deal out with you. But if you'll just try it. And so far, everybody that has contacted me and tried the holster out has sent me an email back later on, or I never heard from them again.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, I thought you were nuts, but this really does work. So
yeah. Oh yeah. You got to open your minds, folks.
Yeah.
So once again, before we conclude this segment, tell them where exactly they can get the Cornerstone or the Keepers or the Errand.
KeepersConcealment.com. You can find all of our holsters there, my training schedule there, etc.
So I'll put a link in the show notes, and thanks for listening and watching, everybody, and we'll be back.